Boom. Okay. Hey, welcome to the best thing you watched this week. Also, the best thing we watched this week. We got Chris from Movies and Munchies, Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday. Chris has been out gallivanting in conferences and has had a somewhat interesting week, but we do have interesting content to talk about. This week, we are going to talk about the best thing we watched, and in the podcast, we have some entertainment news as per usual. And in the Patreon, we're going to... What are we doing in the Patreon?
Our best or maybe first cinema experiences. A little bit of story time there.
This is story time. That'll be quite fun. I think we probably have many, so we'll have to kind of pick from a hat. If you want to see what we get up to in that, we will be soon doing like a video during one of these weeks. But for now, the link is in the description. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you have had a great week. Thank you for tuning in with us again. I'm excited to get started because I think we're going to have vastly different things to talk about this week.
We might. Yeah.
But first...
I have a question.
Questions.
Yes. May I ask you a question? Okay.
Sure.
What's the most imaginative insult you can come up with?
Ooh. Wow. Keeping it family friendly.
Well, sure.
Or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, as per, you can edit yourself, I guess.
Okay, let us know in the comments as well. Come up with your most imaginative insult without using swear words. I think that will be really interesting because some swear words are just used, like I know some cultures, like especially if there's some places you go into Britain that's just language. It's not even swearing. It's part of the
part of the
colloquial language.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't not swear. Do you have something?
Well, the only one that always like instantly pops into my head when I think of like an insult is your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
What?
No,
your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries. Why do I know that?
You do know that.
Does it have an accent? Wait, is that from The Princess Bride?
No, but it does have an accent.
I don't know. What is it?
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say it might be in a while since it's the Holy Grail.
Yes.
African or European?
What? I don't know.
Insults that are fun are always fun to take an inanimate object and then reference an animal with that. So, you're a flat-faced badger or your breath smells like a cat's anus, something like that.
Wow. Well, and then the natural response is, oh, you get a lot of smelling of that, do you?
Yeah, you see, you have to be careful with... Yeah. Be careful because some people are pretty witty and pretty quick to come back, and then you're like, damn it, I didn't have anything prepared. Now what do I do?
I walked right into that one.
Set them up.
But yes, what are some of your favorite insults? There's tons, and the more unique, the better. I think let us know. That's fun. All right. Well, should we dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
I have an honorable mention,
yes.
like you did last week. So I'm going to continue our trend of YouTube channels because we seem to be getting into that. So one of my favorites, and we're talking about swearing and swearing going into like the colloquial language. There's a YouTube channel called The Ozzy Man. And he does loads of like film reviews, but mostly he does little clips of people either having a good day or having a bad day, and he reacts to them, or he will narrate them with his own language, and it's hilarious. Like, it's really, really funny. But this week, he has been condensing what has been happening in the Johnny Depp and Amber world. what's her name?
Amber Heard.
The betrayer. Amber Heard, sorry. Yeah. And I really appreciate that because it's hours and hours of court case footage. But he's condensed it so that we can understand it. And it's been making me laugh a lot because it's so ludicrous, but yet so accurate. And I'm loving seeing Amber Heard's lawyers. Like, I think you have to go to lawyer school, right? To learn to lawyer.
You are supposed to go to lawyer school. Yes, I think you're even.
There's a few years. There's something about like a bar exam, like knowing stuff, like just basics.
Yes, you didn't even pass the bar, or what is it? What doesn't surprise me, you've never passed a bar in your life. Money Pit. I don't know. Actually, they're between Tom Hanks and Sally, or what's her name? Anyway, sorry. Digress. Go for it.
So there's been Ozzy Man. He's narrating some of what's going on in the court case, and it's great because he's like, there's a woman that has all the doctorates as one of the people that's called to come and understand, and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm probably not supposed to say this, but she's really sexy, and when she puts on her glasses, and it's at that bit's funny, but then he's listening to how she speaks and how she responds to the lawyer asking stupid questions, and she's like, let's just get this straight and sort this out so we can move on from the cookies, because they've been speaking about cookies for 2 hours. And you just see Johnny Depp sitting there just laughing his head off, like smirking, because he's not meant to be enjoying it, but he's enjoying the fact that
the ridiculousness, right?
Just dumb. I also am slightly worried because I know how I've seen how entertainment law works, and sometimes it just doesn't make any sense. 99% of what they're saying has disproved anything because that's what they're trying to prove, that Johnny Depp was the abuser, and so far 99% of whatever they've said is just not true. They can't prove anything. So if he doesn't come off getting his money back and getting his name back, then I'd be totally worried. But saying that, I don't have any faith in the Hollywood system whatsoever. So I am hoping that somehow Johnny gets because he can't get back. I feel like the damage is done already. Like, even if they clear his name, he can't now go back in time and do those jobs that he lost. He can't get back his self-worth. Like, she's really like belittled him. And so I do wonder what performances we're going to see from him, if he'll even go back into acting, because any individual person, this is really, it's years in the making. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
No. I think he will. I think he'll bounce back, and I think he'll bounce back fairly quickly because the court of public opinion is wildly on his side.
That's true.
I just saw there was now the petition to remove Amber Heard from Aquaman 2 has reached. 2. It's reached over 2 million signers now.
2.5 million.
Oh wow! Okay.
And they want to get to 3, and apparently once you reach 3, you have to. I don't know. I don't think you can force anybody to do anything with a petition. Doesn't mean squat.
No, but
it's still 3 million people. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think Warner will at least, especially if it continues to come out of what has transpired. Warner Brothers is probably going to have to take some sort of action in some way, because they're going to end up with a PR nightmare. If they're not already within it. They already have a PR nightmare. Yeah.
The way they handle stuff like this is ridiculous. Yeah. And also talking about Amber Heard and her relationship with Elon Musk, and the amount of money. So she has this charity that she said that she would donate a certain amount of money to, then couldn't afford to pay it. So Elon, her boyfriend at the time, donated an amount, but now they still owe the charity like 2 million. And that was just said out loud, straightforward in the court. And like and people are not going, okay, so that's the type of person who steals money, who says she's going to do something to look good in the limelight, in the cameras, but then doesn't, and that's to a charity. What do you think she's going to do at home with the person behind closed doors?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, Ozzy Man,
Anyway,
is
Ozzy Man. Check.
Well, are some of these kind of like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 or a Riff Tracks type of thing where he's where we're watching it and he's doing some voiceovers or anything like that? Or
Yeah, so he does do voiceovers. He has his own way of doing things. He kind of explains what's going on. And then he'll go to, it's really funny. Like he'll go to the sign of the court and he'll be like, well, that's a bit violent, isn't it? Because the actual picture of the image of the sign of the court is someone standing on someone else, like, and that's supposed to be judge justice. And you're like, holy crap, he's not wrong. So he just kind of points out truth.
Gotcha.
And then you're like, it's that sort of comedy that you're like, yeah, no, he's not wrong at all. Which is great. He covered some of the war from both perspectives as well.
Oh, wow.
So from the Russians and from the country got invaded, and that was really interesting. Just people like on the ground, and I thought that was really interesting. So yeah, check. I mean, he's got like millions of subscribers, but check him out if you just want to laugh your head off. Guarantee. I remember watching him years ago when I was still probably up myself a bit. I was like, that swears too much. He's swearing too much. And now I'm like, yeah, it's fine. So I've obviously gone down a dark path since then.
2020 and 2021 have not been good.
Yeah, very different.
Gotcha.
So that's my honorable mention.
Okay, cool. Well, you mentioned cookies. So if I can take us off on a slight tangent, which welcome to the show. This is what we do. And so I had been traveling, as you had mentioned, for work this week. And I was in Kansas City, Missouri. And
we're not in Kansas anymore.
No, we weren't. Yeah, we weren't in Kansas. Yeah, I did barely. So the city straddles the river, which, regardless. So I ate barbecue every night, which was really, really good, but really, really bad for my gut. I had
Is it though?
Well, I began to have like some acid reflux going on after so much, like, cause they don't really understand portions there. Which is good. Right. I don't mind that. So, if I'm buying dinner and yes, please. Cause I don't get that little, you see in restaurants or in, movies or whatever. They bring out this really fancy plate and there's like 3 little, like, tinier than Oreos sitting on there, and you're like, how is this supposed to fill me up? I'm gonna have to go eat something afterwards.
That's ridiculous. And the amount you pay for it as well.
Yeah, exactly. So this was like, oh, here's meat. Okay. And here's more meat. Sweet. That's what I like. Okay. Are there vegetables? Well, there's a pickle. Okay. Now we're talking. This is my kind of food.
Where's the lettuce?
No, what? That's gross. There was the only thing green, the only thing that was non-meat. Well, I did get macaroni and cheese with it. Right. And that was really good. They called it spicy.
So when you have a burger, do you not have lettuce on the burger?
Why would you do that? It's bun and
like
meat
lettuce and
cheese.
tomato and cheese and meat. Yeah.
No, my tomato is in the form of ketchup. And if I want some more color, I have yellow for the mustard and then green from the pickles and then
orangish. Like British food,
What?
I'm not sure you like British food because there's some green stuff here.
Oh, when I was in Ukraine, they served tomatoes like at every meal. It was like, just kind of politely push that aside.
Tomatoes.
Oh no! Oh gosh, no! I don't even like marinara sauce.
Oh my gosh.
Because I don't like tomatoes. But on my way to this barbecue place, the first night I was there, because I have no idea where I'm going other than by Google Maps, and so I just looked up, barbecue restaurants, looked for one that was rated highly. Okay, gonna go there. So I did, and it was great. But on my way there, there's this place called Insomnia Cookies. And and I'm like, well, that's a weird name, but whatever. And on the side of it, it says warm cookies delivered until 3 a.m. And I'm like, what in the world? That's like,
whose job is that?
College kids.
Imagine baking at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
2 a.m. in the morning.
So
for delivery.
Yeah, Wednesday night, my last night in Kansas City, I purposely went to the same barbecue place that I went to on Monday because I enjoyed it.
Right.
And as I'm walking back, I'm like, yep, I'm going to go into this cookie place. And so I did. And they have all of their cookies sitting in warming ovens so that they're warm when you buy them. And I got a chocolate chunk, and a peanut butter. And three
nice.
cookies that were, I don't know, about 3 to 4 inches in diameter. Yeah. And it was, so I didn't eat them right there. I walked back to my hotel, which was, I don't know, not a half mile away, but more than a quarter mile away. They were still warm by the time I got back. So it was, oh my gosh. And they were soft and chewy. And I'm
hungry. I haven't eaten yet, Chris.
Oh, well, and after eating this massive meal, like I thought I was going to die, but I did get a little exercise. I mean, I got a couple of steps in. I finished all 3 cookies, like one right after the other. Just
wow.
Boom.
So you lost weight this trip?
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, yeah. So much so that on Thursday I didn't even tuck in my shirt. I just left it out because there was no way in the world at the conference I was going to be able to do that. I was going to be uncomfortable. So yeah. Okay. Story time. Yeah, there we go. All right. So
nice.
Let's get into the actual content.
The best thing we watched this week was Chris eating cookies and
yeah, they were delicious.
Ozzy man swearing.
Yes. Okay.
Nice.
How about we get into the real stuff there? You want to go?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay. So Sony sent me a a check disc Blu-ray copy for Uncharted. The based on the game.
Oh.
And obviously that came out to the cinema, but I don't know if it's out in the US yet, but it's coming out on 26th of April.
Which is
to download.
Which is yeah, okay, yeah, that
which is past.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And the 9th of May to own on 4K HD and Blu-ray.
Nice.
So my boys hadn't seen that, so we sat down, we chucked it on the projector last night, and they loved it, and they're massive fans of the games as well. Well, my one son is a really big fan of the game. And I enjoyed it more the second time, which is interesting, because I think sometimes when you're close to an IP and you're going with an expectation, you're thinking too much almost. You're too much in your head. But then when you've left it some time, you don't go in with expectation. You come and go, you know what? That was actually a decent film. And we came away afterwards, talking about how they made it, what it reminded us of, like National Treasure, Indiana Jones, those kind of films. And if you're not too close to the games, you're not like, this needs to be exactly like that, then I think you will find that you really enjoy it. Ruben Fleischer, the director, was so impressed with Tom Holland, because he has 2 stunt doubles, but he mostly did all of his own stunts because he really can. It was interesting, Tom Holland saying that he found this way more physical than the Spider-Man roles, and he spent more time in harnesses in Uncharted than he did in the Spider-Man roles. So yeah, so what's nice about the Blu-rays, because some of these Blu-rays, they're so vanilla, but this one comes with like loads of extras and behind the scenes, and so you get music video, you get marketing stuff, and Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg doing the marketing stuff together is hilarious. That, like, great chemistry, pretty funny. But the behind the scenes stuff is gold, because you get to see how much they actually did the physical stuff. So there's blue screen,
sure.
But the ships, the big action sequence at the end, there's these ships they made, and then they're on gimbals so that they can do all the physical stuff. That big action scenes with the blocks where they're flying out of the back of the huge cargo plane. Yeah, those are big square things that are on robot arms that are moving up and down like this. And so the actors are doing all the physical stuff. So they didn't want to do it all digital. So you have the blue screen for the surrounding, but all the practical stuff they have to do. They're doing it. They're on harnesses and stuff. But yeah, it was so much fun. I was like, I almost had more fun watching how they made it than the film itself, which I enjoyed again the second time. Understood more the kind of the references, looking forward to the next part, like what Ruben may do. Also a great name, by the way, Ruben. And then seeing what they do with the characters in the future. So I was like, this is actually a good comparison game.
That's always fun when you have fun with the movie, but when you get some distance between it. I mean, sometimes it builds it up better in your head, like, I actually had more fun with it than I remember having. But then you go back and you watch it and you're like, no, the memory was actually the thing that was better. So it's great to hear that you had like a lot of fun with this. But I'm really impressed about how they integrated the practical with the special effects, because that makes it so much better. Like, I think about like the blocks moving and twisting and everything. And so them having to physically interact with all of those, because it felt real. I mean, in the movie, you have this sense of realism. It's not. I mean, that they're not actually up there and getting hit off of a plane, but it still had that believability to it. And I guess that comes from having sets that were really built for that.
Yeah, so they had proper sets and then just blue screen around that, which I think makes, when the actors are interacting with physical props, I guess, then it makes it so it could have just been boxes with green and blue cloth and digital everything. We've seen that done 100 times, and it depends on, I guess, how good the actors are to kind of make you believe. But also, you spend so much more money in the VFX and special effects then, I guess, and if you don't get that exactly right, then it kind of downgrades all of the whole film. It doesn't matter how good it is. It was interesting to find out that one of the female protagonists, who is, I don't know, depending on whether you've seen the film, she's one of the bad guys, one of the main bad guys. She has this knife that is like curved and really vicious. One of the reasons why she's so good at fighting is that her background is martial arts. She's got like a black belt. And so you see her practicing. She didn't need a stunt double. So you just see her take on these guys and practicing, and you're like, oh, that's why that scene, whenever she fights, she looks like she's hitting hard, because she probably is, or is able to make it look like she's really hitting hard.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's fun. Wow. It gives a whole new appreciation of the whole movie then, by being able to see all these.
Absolutely does. Often my favorite parts of these movies, which is why I love physical media, because a lot of digital stuff just doesn't, it doesn't come with all the extras. And when the physical media, I don't know if you remember those DVDs that come with like 2-3 discs, and the one disc is just physical, like special edition, commentary, all of that, like documentaries. There's loads of films that used to do that as like, and I used to love watching how if you love film, you want to go behind the scenes. You want to see those extra scenes that they didn't put in, that didn't quite make the cut. There's loads of those. So I love that sort of thing. It's not often I get that anymore.
Yeah. Most of the time it's, I don't know. I mean, because I still buy a lot of physical media, just because I don't trust the internet. So I don't buy digital only. That. I'll buy both, but I tend to stream the movies that I've purchased more than pulling out the disc.
Well, you get the code, yeah. And I think a lot of that is because of just where I happen to be sitting to watch it, because I have our living room has the better sound system, has the best screen, all of these, but it's not always the most ideal place that we want to sit and watch something. Sometimes we want to. Yeah. So anyway, that's cool. That's outstanding. And so the Blu-ray comes out just in a couple weeks in May, right? Yeah, it's really, really soon. Yeah.
Nice.
9th of May, Blu-ray, DVD, 4K, to rent or own is already out, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw an advertisement.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's cool. So, yeah.
All right.
What's on your list?
Okay. First one is on Netflix. It's called The 7 Lives of Lea. It is
I saw you dropped a review for it. I wondered if because that had quite a few episodes.
It did. It had 7. And yeah, they're
Is it one for each life?
one for each day. So
Okay.
there's a time limit in this. It's a mystery, and I want to call it a murder mystery, but it's not. I don't know. You can't really qualify.
It looked interesting. The premise is interesting.
The premise is, yeah, it's kind of like Quantum Leap, maybe with a tiny bit of Freaky Friday in there, except people aren't swapping lives. And so basically what happens is you have this teenage girl who she just at the very beginning of the first episode, she discovers the remains of a body. And after answering some police questions and everything, she gets home and she's just kind of distraught, and it bothers her, but she's thinking about things. She goes to sleep. She wakes up the next morning all discombobulated because now she's in the body 30 years earlier of the guy whose remains she found. And she has no idea how she got there. She doesn't know if she's just crazy. We don't know if she's just crazy, if these are just visions or what's going on. And but because she figures out the date, and I guess they had discussed at some point, they figured out when he had gone missing. And so they decide that, well, this is when he must have died. And so now we have this 7-day time limit, basically, so that she's trying to figure out what happened before he died. Can she change things? Can she just figure out who did it? All these things. And so she will go to sleep and wake up in a new body. And because she's doing it 30 years prior, these are people that, like, in this circle of friends in the past, it includes her parents and maybe the parents of her current classmates, something like that. And so I loved that it didn't spell out all of the rules right at the very beginning, that it gave us we just kind of get invested in the story. I mean, I was hooked almost right away, just because it was like, well, this is an intriguing premise, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on yet, totally. And I'm not sure I buy the whole waking up in another body, like reincarnated or however, but in the past, because there's really no explanation for it, that begin to not bother me at all. And they play out the rules. Like, so you begin to understand, and because there's sometimes I'm like, well, if you make a decision here in the past as this person, does it actually carry forward, and affect other things? Or does this person say, remember what, that you took over? And so it answers a lot of that.
There was such an echo.
It's very dramatic, But no, the series, it's teen angst at points. There are some moments within there that I think could really be cut down, because they spend more time on a certain element that is not necessarily crucial to the story. I mean, it helps build a little bit of the character or something like that. But like, say if I have a 5-minute segment of this thing, but I really only needed the establishing shot, then this piece here, because it becomes important later on, and then this piece over here, I can cut out 2.5 minutes and be totally fine, and so there's little bits here and there of that just help move it along a little faster. I was satisfied with how it ends, but there reaches a point where you go, oh, wait a minute, there's a consequence here that if continued down this path, it means something for a certain character. And that weight to it becomes a character tension moment, which felt good. I mean, it was really like you feel kind of the decision that has to be made there. So it was good. And it was handled well. The thing I think that is probably one of the best parts about this is because think back to Jumanji with Jack Black. When Jack Black plays the teenage girl who he's supposed to be a teenage girl, in the game. And so how he acts like that, all of these actors,
he plays it really well.
Exactly. Now, all of these actors have to be Leah, this teenage girl.
I guess they have to be her, so that showcases their acting ability.
Exactly. Yeah. So they have to convincingly be themselves, but be her in them, and interacting with the world and stuff like that. So,
that's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. So it's good.
Does it wrap up?
It does. I was trying to figure out, are they just calling this a limited series? Everything I saw called it season 1, which I don't see how you continue forward with it. It has a concrete resolution, and it all makes sense. So I don't know why, if you were to continue going forward, where would you go and why would you do it? It would be almost pointless to do that. So.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. It's one I had on my list I just didn't get round to watching because I ended up watching so much this week. Some weeks you think there's not a lot, and then you're like, oh, damn, there is actually a lot to watch.
Tons to watch, yeah.
As a second honorable mention, because I haven't finished watching the second season of this, Amazon original series called Undone. It's an animated series about a young girl that has the ability to... It's not really time traveling. It's quantum shifting into her. It's really hard to explain. She has the ability to go back into her past selves and change the events eventually. That's what happens in season 1, and that all comes down from, I guess, a family trait. Her dad is the big storyline where she has to try and save her dad in season 1. Season 2, there's someone else in the family that also has it, and so we link up with our main protagonist, and then we see how that progresses in season 2. The animation style is still there because it's basically rotoscoping. You get the actors playing the parts physically, so it feels very tangible, very real, and then it still has its unique, very vibrant, interesting Scanner Darkly type of animation. Have you ever seen the Keanu Reeves Scanner Darkly? Yeah. I love it. I think it's really bonkers. It's out there. It keeps you guessing. The score is great again. The acting is great again. I just haven't finished it, so I can't rate it yet. That's because there was so much. So that was my hey guys, did you know you might have missed this one? Because I think a lot of people did miss this one. It wasn't spoken about hugely, but I think it's one of the most unique originals on Amazon. Have you seen the first season, Chris?
I saw most of the first season. It was a little tough to get into for me at the beginning.
I can understand that.
Yeah, and I fell off for I don't think any good reason. Just I did, and didn't finish it. But I also have the screeners for season 2, so I've been thinking about I should probably go back and just finish season 1, and then dive into this because it's Rosa Salazar, right? Who is in the Alita and Cherry.
Yeah, I mean, she's awesome. She's an awesome actress. Yeah,
she's really great.
But it's also, what's his face?
From Better Call Saul, right? Yeah,
yeah.
As the dad, yeah. Okay.
I think it's out now, though.
Oh, is it really?
Undone.
Did I? Oh, well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it came out, Chris, on Friday.
Oh, that was one of the ones for me then, yes, that I was supposed to watch this week. And yeah,
that you just never got to.
Yeah, when I was telling Ruben off air that I had other things that I was going to review this week, even while I was traveling, but my microphone wasn't working, and so it was pointless. It was so
you couldn't record.
I couldn't record, yeah. So it was just whatever. So okay, because I didn't take all my gear with me to travel because it's too much.
That's just too much.
Yeah, I was just going to sacrifice.
So that was an honorable mention.
Okay,
but the best thing, bar none, that I've seen this week is Your Fault. Because, damn it, Chris, I was so tired over the last 2 days. So there is a series on Apple TV called Raw that I remember last week saying, because you mentioned, it's like, I'm going to watch this series. And I said, oh no, I think that's the one that I think this sounds crap. I'm not going to watch that. That was actually Raw. The synopsis, I reread it. I was like, oh, that's the one. But the one that you said you should watch, I think you'll like it, is called Shining Girls. So I made the mistake of watching the first episode. Anywho, 8 episodes later, I've watched all 8
binged
episodes.
the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah, the whole lot, because I needed to know what the hell was going on. And the best thing I could say is also a detriment to the first 3 episodes that have been dropped is maybe wait till next week, because episode 4 explains what you need to know to continue watching it. Because even though I love the first 3 that dropped on Friday, it explains nothing. Like, it's just nothing. It's a really interesting concept, and if you need to know what it is, Shining Girls is a serial killer, but with science fiction. So there's a serial killer series. You're talking like 7. It's quite dark, and then it's an investigative journalist series as well. You put those 2 things together, you're also a fly on the wall of that investigation. You have to try and figure out what the hell is going on. That's your premise. Jamie Bell and our lead protagonist, what's her name?
Elizabeth Moss.
Elizabeth Moss. And my goodness, it's good. It's really good.
This is on my list.
And
also.
I really want to talk about the end, but I can't.
Oh no, don't. Because Apple only allows us this one. Each episode is
you're not allowed to. You can't.
Yeah. So I've only watched the first 3 episodes because I knew I wasn't gonna torture myself, knowing that I couldn't talk about it. And then what I was afraid was going to happen is it was going to get convoluted in my mind,
right?
And I might talk about something that happens in another episode. You know, and I was like, okay, I was so confused, but in a really good way through so much of it, you know, and there's moments where you're like, wait a minute, what the crap? Wait, you know, and trying to figure out timelines. And because we see Jamie Bell at the very beginning in the opening scene, and then we see him later in the series, and I'm like, no, there is no way in the world that he looks the way he looks. You know, my wife and I are having this discussion, and we're like, I don't know. There's something going on here, because I didn't watch any trailers for this. I don't know if you saw a trailer for it or not, but
no, I didn't. No.
And then the phone calls that happen, and just if you like a mind bending mystery, and Elizabeth Moss she makes me so uncomfortable in this because she's so traumatized, so that her, you know, I mean, she just, like, I think you even said it in your review where I want you to answer. I want you to say something. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't say things, even though she suspects things or whatever. And that, you know, that's as a result of the trauma of what she experiences within her realities. And this is,
I mean, cinematography, it looks great. Like, it's beautifully shot. There are some incredible moments where it kind of shows the disorientation or the brokenness of a mind. And it's just like the way, how do you show that? Spiraling staircases with different type of lighting. And it just, the way they show that is really well done. And also the tenseness that it can bring. There's that tone, because you know that Jamie Bell character is lurking in the background somewhere, and he's up to no good, and you're always kind of tense. You're wondering what's going to happen next, but you don't quite understand what's happening next because in the first 3 episodes it doesn't explain anything. I can say, without doing spoilers, that there are answers, which is great. I don't know that everybody's going to be happy with all the answers, but there are answers. Yeah, which is great.
The dialogue too, you know, the dialogue is really good. I think especially for Jamie Bell, as he gets to have some of these conversations that are cryptic. Yeah. And like, you're like, you already feel off to me, and now you're freaking me out. But you're doing it with a smile and a very calm demeanor. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, actors love this sort of role, don't they? They can play with it. They can really enjoy it, get into it. Yeah. It's good fun.
Nice.
Okay, so that was mine. It was on your list as well, obviously.
It was my list, yeah.
So what else is on your list?
The final one that I have on my list, I've only seen episode 1 so far. Now the whole series is out, and I stumbled upon it on accident, and I'm so glad I did. So on HBO Max, there is a Polish crime drama called The Thaw.
Okay. I've never even heard of it.
And it is, I knew nothing about it. I mean, literally nothing. I got on there to see when I could figure out what time We Own the Night, which is another great series, was coming out. And I saw this, it just popped up because this is, my cues are all jacked up, my algorithm. The algorithms don't know what to do with us, because we watch everything.
Because you watch so much, yeah.
Yeah, but it is, you have a female police detective who she has experienced and has a kind of mysterious or a mystery within her past that has to do with her family. And she's dealing with all of that. It's very emotional for her. It's kind of upended her life, but there's a lot of, there's things that go in there, which I think will have farther reaching effects later in the series. Then there's also these killings that are happening, and I think they're going to intertwine, and it pulls in some politics, or more so, not really politics. That's because I don't like political things too much, but it pulls in the power structure within there, because you have like a political figure who influences the way that some investigations work or something like that. So you have people pulling strings that, because they have the power, they can, and to influence or to get their case or their interests pushed forward more. It is a very dark and gritty series, but the acting so far has been wonderful. I mean, I was hooked. Like, I watched this when I was in Kansas City, and I told my wife, I was like, hey, why don't you watch this also, and then once we're together, we can finish out the series or whatever. We just haven't had an opportunity to do that. But even she likes crime stuff too. Like, she likes a lot of crime stuff. She was like, wow, no, I was hooked. So I'm hoping, based on episode 1, it was phenomenal. Yeah.
Okay. Is that the whole season out?
The whole season's out. Yeah. So you can binge it right now.
It's just one.
One season right now. I don't know if it's a limited series or if it's going to continue on. Right. I stumbled upon this by complete accident, and with the full caveat here that it could completely fall apart and become poo by the end, or not answer anything. I mean, I don't know. But right now at episode 1, I'm like, yeah, okay, give it to me. I'm ready. So.
Oh, very interesting. Okay. Next on my list is a series that I think is possibly one of the best series of TV that you're likely to ever watch. It's like up there with Sopranos for me. It's up there probably with Dark. I love, like, I know people talk about certain series with awe and in certain genres. When it comes to TV drama, I don't think anybody has much argument when they say this is not as good as the people say it is. And that's the Ozarks. I think the Ozark has been one of Netflix's flagship seasons of TV that has just gotten more disastrous in storytelling, more tense in storytelling, but the more you watch these characters, the birds, go through what they've gone through, you're just like, oh my gosh, how is this going to end? Unfortunately, I don't like the last 7 episodes of the last season. Okay. I don't like how it ends. I don't like what they did with the characters. I feel like they dragged it on way too long. I think the last 7 episodes don't need to exist. I literally think you could do the last 7 episodes in 2 episodes. I feel like they've dragged everything out between what's going on with the FBI, what's going on with the family, and what's going on, all the kind of the 3 puzzle pieces with your in Mexico FBI family. Those 3, they seem to have wanted to stretch out to kind of say goodbye, but I think you could have done it in 2 episodes completely. Like, it's just, and the episodes are long as well.
They are.
So there's a lot of great acting. There's a lot of great monologues. There's a lot of Mrs. Bird and Marty Bird and people just continuing to betray each other on every level. Like that just happens every episode. And then by now you're like, yeah, they're going to betray that person. That person's going to try and kill that person. That is what happens in the Ozarks. Now, I remember watching way back when the first episode, and I came to it late. People said, Ozark's good, watch this. And I put on the first episode, and man alive, it was like one of the most tense episodes of TV I've ever seen. That opening scene in the warehouse with the "I'm going to execute you," and they're like, they can't execute him. He's one of the I'm sure, I think he's one of the main protagonists, right? What's the actor's name?
Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman. Yeah. It's just like, and I was hooked. And I think the first season is incredible because you just don't know who's going to survive. But then in season 2, we get this character that has been in season 1, but starts having a character arc going from bad guy to integral part of the story. And that's Ruth. And I think you and I both love the Ruth character.
She is my favorite character in the show. Yeah.
And continues to be.
Yes.
The way they left off the first part of the last season. So because the last season was literally something happened to one of Ruth's family members, and she's you're gonna have to be Evan, stop me, because she's out for the warpath, and that's basically how the first few episodes kind of starts unraveling that moment. I really hate how they ended it.
Oh no! See, I've got 4 episodes left, so I started binging it last night. That's a bummer that it's not as.
There's some nice scenes where they're saying goodbye, sort of scenes. You know, they've got to wrap it up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but I just don't feel like they taught enough. Like, I don't believe it. If that makes sense. I think it would have gone a different way. There's also some other ways that I wanted it to end, because I like certain endings. But yeah.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, I'm rooting for a very dark ending for one character, and so far they have not done that to this character.
Mrs. Bird. Everybody wants her to die.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
She's the worst. She's literally the worst. She's the spawn of Satan. I'm sorry. She's evil.
She is a wonderful antagonist. I mean, she is a great villain. It is.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, but there were times throughout this I'm like, you should really stop talking, or hey, now is your opportunity. Why aren't you doing something to her? Just.
Like, good Lord, somebody kill her already. Like, every time you do something, you ruin what they started. Literally every single time. And then she does her weepy thing, and I'm so sorry. It's really hard to love me. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. The series is so great. I mean, it's awesome. Yeah. Well, and I do like, how, at least where I'm at within there, how they have pulled back in, and you're right, they're saying goodbye, because they've pulled in characters from like season 1 and season 2.
Yeah, exactly. They're wrapping up. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and I can appreciate that, but yeah, I do see even now. I mean, with only 3 episodes into volume 2 of this last part, that it is dragging on. Like you could have faster storytelling within this, because. While some pieces I like how long they're taking, because you get to see some anguish with a certain character who has to make certain decisions, and it goes against really who they are in their core. You know, they appear to be one way, they purport to be, they hold themselves as something, but really when it comes down to it, they're not this way. And so that conflict within that character I like, and I enjoy seeing some of that. But then there's other portions of it where it's like, yeah, I just don't care about this part anymore. And so anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have a D honorable mention.
Oh no. Okay.
A D honorable mention, and I I realize I'm probably in the minority with this, but I finally watched a certain film because everybody's like, you've been saying, watch this film. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna put one of the two on that you said I need to watch, because this director recently did his most accessible film and visually stunning film, The Northman, right?
Uh-huh.
And I thought, yeah, visually stunning. I can understand why people don't like it, because it's still weird as heck.
Yeah.
And then you have The Lighthouse, which is even
Weirder.
more weird as heck.
Yeah.
Yeah. But The Witch, Chris, what are you on about? This film is stupid. It's bonkers, and it makes no sense. And it even at the end, when the credits roll, it says this story was about a bunch of stories, folk tales that came together. And I was like, okay, so you took little bits of stories and you shoved them in together, and you went, I'm just going to go mental at the end, and I'm going to tell you nothing in the beginning, and in the middle, you're just going to make me really creeped out with really, really disgusting visuals. That's this film.
Well, and I got to tell you, the first time I saw it, I hated it.
Well, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. No, and the second time I watched it, and I went back, and it was actually like a year or two later, maybe even 3 years later, where I was like, okay, I may have watched it in the wrong mindset. You know, I had watched it pre.
What mindset? You need to be high?
No. I went in thinking wrong type of horror. Like, so I went in,
Okay.
I watched it pre and then post Hereditary. And Hereditary really changed my whole perspective on how I approach certain horrors. And so,
Okay.
so I went,
That's interesting. Okay.
yeah, I went back in and I watched this. Now, I appreciated it more. It did not creep me out. It did not really unsettle me, even though there are some unsettling images within there.
Yeah, I was going to say, it didn't creep me out, but it made me upset. Like, I was like, that's just gross. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely some of those. For me, The Witch is the third of his movies. I mean, if I'm ranking them, it's the bottom.
Absolutely.
Like, with no question, without any hesitancy, it's the bottom. I appreciated it more when I watched it again with a different mindset, because I came at it with a whole different viewpoint and expectation.
Right.
But I can still see. I mean, I can agree with you that it's not.
I was just.
There's a lot of weirdness
I was like,
to it.
I thought it was going to be really accessible, because when it starts out, it's like Salem witch trials,
Yeah.
and the family leaves, and it's the witch in the wood, and you have these kids chanting about the black goat, and you're picking up little things, and you're like, yeah, I get this, and then it just derails itself, even to the extent where you get to the end. There's a moment where people are around the fire. I'm not going to say what it is. And like, you haven't explained any of this. Am I now to believe that all these people, this is what it was doing, sort of thing? And it was pulling all these images, and I was just like, you really haven't set any of that up. Only by your writing at the end have you sort of explained what was going on.
Well, you have the suspicions. You have all of the, because throughout, I mean, like, she sees something, the child is taken. There's the
how is the child taken? That was nonsense as well. I'm never playing peekaboo again, by the way.
Well, true. This is yeah, exactly. But see, I think that's also where it goes into that supernatural, because it has to.
Yeah.
It defies.
So it was supernatural.
Yeah. Because I mean, even Black Phillip.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, so there is the elements there, but I like that it was that you don't know up until a certain point. You know what I mean? Is it just hysteria? Is it just this religious fervor and of them overreacting, or is it based on something that they have really experienced, and so that influences their behaviors, or is it actually happening? And they're spot on, even though we don't see them as being spot on. We see them as being religious fanaticals who are just off their rocker. You know.
Yeah.
So fair enough. Yep. But see, again though, the beauty of film, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's okay to not like that. I've still got to rewatch It Comes at Night because so many people rave about that movie. And the first time I watched it, again, I think it was pre-Hereditary. I watched it. I'm like, I don't.
Is that a vampire film?
I honestly don't remember. It may be vampire or werewolf, one of the two.
Okay, cool.
But I was like, this is stupid. I just, so I do need to, I go in now, I say that because I need to go back and rewatch it with a different, with just fresh eyes to see. Now and fully acknowledging I still may not like it, and that's okay. And I'm going to be comfortable with not liking it or just being like,
it's all right. It's okay not to like things.
Totally.
That'd be boring if you liked everything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because I can still, we can still pull out things that we enjoy within something that's utter poo, but it doesn't mean that the whole movie is worth it or that it lives up to some of the hype. Because I do think, and we've talked about this before, that sometimes there's the bandwagon and the fanboy thing that goes on, and and that's okay
with
if you
like A24 films for some reason.
Yeah, and that's okay if you like it. Totally fine. You shouldn't feel shamed for liking it. I mean, I had fun, which I know I'm in the minority, but I had fun with what was the very last Star Wars movie? I know it's poo, but Rise of Skywalker. Yeah,
yeah. I've even blanked it out. Yeah, Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I had fun with it. Is it good? No, but I was entertained. You know what I mean? There was parts of it that I had fun with. So. Again, I mean, like I say that just saying that we can like things that are poo, and you don't have to feel ashamed for liking something that everybody else hates. That's okay.
That's okay then. That's good.
Yes.
We needed something lighthearted to watch last night.
Yeah.
After we watched Uncharted, the kids left the room, and Kirsten and I were like, "Oh, what can we watch? Let's watch like a rom-com, that kind of." A comedy rom-com, and we ended up putting on Forgetting Sarah Marshall because Kirsten had never seen it. Have you seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
It's Jason Segel, right?
Jason Segel, yeah, also written by him.
I don't know if I've seen this one or not.
I forgot how funny this film was. Like, I forgot that it's genuinely because of the cast in it. So you've got Jason Segel, Kirsten Stewart. Not Kirsten Stewart. What's her name? Come on, my brain. I'm gonna type it in. There it is. Kirsten Bell.
Oh yeah.
And then you've got the British.
You got Paul Rudd in it too.
Paul Rudd.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And Russell Brand and Bill Hader. So yeah, it ends up being a rom-com about finding your love, but also getting over your ex, which is why it's Forgetting Sarah Marshall. But it's all set in Hawaii. And I love Russell Brand in it. I think he's hilarious. He is Russell Brand. I don't know that he's acting. I just think he's Russell Brand in it.
Okay.
I can't see him as anything else. But I did want to do a quick mention that if you've ever watched it and you didn't stay for the credits, there's two end sequences that I don't think a lot of people know about.
Oh.
And one of them is for a trailer of a show that Kirsten Bell is in for a TV series that the actor is playing in this world.
Oh.
So it's a fake TV series.
Oh, nice.
And the lead protagonist from the Ozarks, Jason Bateman, is like her counterpartner in that, wearing dark glasses as a detective, and it's just brilliant.
Nice.
Just a really weird add-on. Like some people just have fun making a movie, and this is what I think they felt like they were going to do. It also is an 18 because there's a lot of Willy in it, and in particularly it's Jason Segel's Willy. Oh. He has a lot of naked scenes in it, and they just show it, and I'm like, all right,
okay,
cool. Cool. I have seen Jason Segel's Willy multiple times. So if I ever meet him, I'll be like, I've seen your Willy. And he'll be like, get that guy away from me.
Yes, that's probably not what you should lead with.
No, probably not. But yeah, that's everything Have you got anything else
Nope.
to talk about?
Nope. That's it. That's all I got. Well, hey, we thank you for tuning in, for watching us. What were you going to say? Were you going to say something? No?
Nothing.
No?
I just nodded my head.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, tweet at us at Best We Watched. What are some of the best things that you watched this week? Let us know in the comments. We would love to hear that. Don't forget also to check out our Patreon. There is a ton of new content with new content every single week. So you get some exclusive access within there at patreon.com/thebeardedones, because, you know, we have beards and that's how it rolls. But otherwise, yeah, we will catch you next week with more of the best things that we watched. See ya.